I think with our groups, many groups have mediator in their research model. So how much do you remember the mediation? How do you know you can introduce a mediation or mediation to your research model? Lydia, how much do you remember about mediation or mediation?
Something between
Between the x and y?
yes.
Independent variable and dependent variable? Yeah, of course. But how do you know you have an opportunity to introduce a mediator into your model? How do you know that? How do you know you need to find a mediator?
If the relation from independent and dependent part.
Yes, okay, that's good. That's the point. Yeah, that's the fundamental key information. It's too far, but how do you know it's too far? That's good, but how do you know it's too far? From x to y. So that you can introduce a mediator into your model to explain the mechanism or black box of between x and y. How do you know that? Our course is not only focused on the statistical, but most of it focused on the logical thinking. Logical thinking. So, Nitya, how do you know that? That you have an opportunity to introduce mediator into the research model. It's too far, right? From x to y. It's too far away. But how do you know that? From x to y, too far. For example, this environment stimulus, like sales promotion, and that's our behavior of purchase. Behavior purchase. How do you know it's too far? Anyone would like to think about this question? Use your logic. We have to train ourselves about logical thinking so that you can generate hypotheses from theory or from literature. Do you know my question? How do you know it's too far from sales promotion to purchase behavior? Purchase behavior. How do you know? Didi, how do you know? Most of your research framework, including mediator. But how do you know you would like to introduce a mediator into the model?
Because, like, if we think before, during the promotion and after the purchasing, if we put ourselves into the customer,
Yeah.
there is a process in between.
Process, good. Okay. So we can treat the environment of sales promotion as an input, right? As an input. And this is an output. Right? And Didi does talk about process in between. But my question is, how do you know it's too far? Beside process, but that's a good start. Yeah. Of course, it's a process of mechanism. Mercury is a black box. We would like to unbox it. Black box. I don't know.
Maybe because, like,
How do you know? Because usually you have to read article.
yeah,
No matter how much article you read, right? So how do you know there's a opportunity?
Because in previous
Study?
most previous studies,
Mm-hmm.
they will include something in between the stimulus and the purchasing fee.
So you just copy and imitate. Because people already told you, like SLR, right?
Yeah.
SLR framework. Stimulate, organism, and response. A lot of people adopt this theory base. So that we like to introduce a mediator. That's an approach, right? Okay. So what else? Really? No. This kind of logic thinking not only apply in the research, but also can apply to your future business. You like to do something to stimulate the consumer, but there's a process, there's a black box. How do I know? Anyone? Anyone else? Harish,
Not here.
not here. Joyce? Okay, how about you? No, it's too far. It's too far from sales promotion to purchasing behavior. So that we have to specify the mechanism, the process of blood clots.
Maybe we can test the indirect effect. Or maybe we can test the indirect effect.
Effect?
Indirect effect.
Indirect effect. Indirect effect, that's good, but indirect is after we introduce mediation into our model, right? So we have to analyze indirect effect, that's right. But before that, we just start creating the research framework. But how do we know we can introduce a mediator into the model based on previous studies? The answer is that we have to take a look at the empirical result. Empirical result. Or the result section. Result section. Take a look at the result section. And looking for the coefficient. Here, to looking for the coefficient. Maybe it's like regression coefficient. You have to look for this result. And the result, maybe it's minus, maybe it's plus. Positive, maybe it's negative. Maybe it's on the 0.1. That's the strength. That's the strength. The strength of relation between x and y. And the statistical result is significant. It's significant. But we can see the coefficient is quite small. Although it's significant. Maybe this significance is due to the sample size. Larger sample size. So the relationship between x1 is significant, but the coefficient is quite small. The strength is quite weak, quite small. So I can tell x and y do have a mediation effect in between. Okay, Media. Good job. So we have to look for that result section in previous study. Look for the coefficient, regression coefficient between x and y. If the coefficient is quite small, but significant, they indicating there's an opportunity you can introduce mediator into your model. Okay. This is the way how you describe the research gap in the first section, introduction section. Okay. That's about the mediation or mediator. And why it's important? Because it can give the reader insight to get insight without why X influence Y or why X impact Y. Because there's a process in between. Can you guess which mediator may exist between sales promotion and buying behavior? Can you guess? Guess one? Pick one. Discount. Okay. Discount. Good guess. And or some people like to use the word high CP. Now CP value, right? High CP value or perceived value. Yeah. I perceive the product has value, high value, good value. So that might trigger you to do something. It makes sense, right? So there's a process in our brain, in our mind. We receive the stimulus from the environment. Then we have to process the information. Then do the response. Got it? Okay. Now let's talk about how do we test the mediator effect or the mediation effect. How do we test? Anyone remember? We just mentioned. ANOVA. Okay. ANOVA. Good guess. It's good guess. But not completely correct. Good guess. Try it. P-value? P-value is more general, but I need approach. What kind of approach I can adopt to test the mediation effect? SEM? SEM? Structure, okay, it's structural equation, of course. We can do it by using SEM, or we can do it by using regression, traditional regression, that's okay. But approach some researchers have to introduce approach to test the mediation effect. Sample, good. You say that? You? Yeah, sample test. Okay. That's a good job. Sample test. Sample test usually come with let's scroll down to testing the mediation effect. This sample test do the develop have to do the so that after the first approach called Baron and Kenny approach. Remember? Baron and Kenny, two researcher for full mediation effect So there's a step by using traditional regression, but we call hierarchical regression. Called regression. Hierarchical regression versus traditional regression. That's different. By using the Bellon-Canny approach, we have to adopt hierarchical. But do you know what is hierarchical regression? What is different from traditional regression? You adopt regression, right? You have mediator, right? So you adopt hierarchical regression. I'm not pretty sure. You can share with me.
Burgers at the end.
Okay. Traditional regression, only one model. One model. Model one. But traditional regression usually has three models. Model one, model two, and model three. By adopting the Bellon-Canny approach. The first model, control variable to 1. Many students don't have control variable in their research. Only a few. Consider control variable. The very best control variable is a gender, right? Gender. But most important is to increase some independent variable from prior research. Not my prior research. Some people already did study about find the independent variable that can influence the Y. That's the first model. The second model is your ID to Y. That's second model. The third model is your ID and mediation to Y. That's the Bellon-Canny approach. But solo test is after Bellon-Canny to test indirect effect. Okay, solo test. Have anyone learned this approach before? Anyone? No. But you have mediation in your model. Okay. You have mediation in your model. Okay. That's not only one way. We like to introduce several ways. This is very classical, but some researchers develop new techniques to detect the mediation effect. Let's move on to next. Model 3 is there? Just like Joyce mentioned, solo test. Solo test. And the next is about bootstrapping. Bootstrapping to generate confidence interval. To generate confidence interval. there's confidence interval. We have mentioned the confidence interval before this week. Anyone remember confidence interval? Confidence interval. You know, we are to check the coefficient, regression coefficient is significant or not. We can depends on the p-value, right? To check, to look for the p-value. That is one way. That's the most popular way. But for a mediation effect, adopting the bootstrapping, we will generate a confidence interval. We have two values in this interval. Anyone remember? Really?
I'm not really sure.
You're not really sure? Daniel? You remember confidence interval? We have talked about that in previous course. Do you remember? Confidence interval. The range of lower and upper. The range, lower bound and upper bound, two values. Yeah. We'll create an interval. David. David. Sorry. David. Okay. You remember confidence interval? Confidence interval. Let's say, if I have confidence interval A, 0 and 0, 1. The relationship, the coefficient is significant or not? The regression coefficient is significant or not? Based on the confidence interval, 0 and 0.1. The range from 0 to 0.1. Is it significant or not? Another way. B minus 0.2. 0. A significant or not? B significant or not?
No.
No?
It's only 10 or 20%.
10%.
10% and 20%.
Good guess, but not close. Try. And we have C situation. C minus 0.2 to minus 0.1. Can you interpret information here, confidence interval, to decide whether or not the coefficient is significant? That's important when we want to talk about the mediation effect by adopting bootstrapping. DB, an idea? We have three cases, A, B, C. Can you identify which interval indicating a significant effect? Which one? C, A, and why? Why? C or A? Why? Tell me why. I guess you just forgot, right?
I think A because
A?
greater than 0.
Greater than 0? Okay. Okay, the answer is when the interval contains 0, when the interval contains means not significant. So which one? C, yeah, definitely. This one. Please keep in mind. Keep in mind, please. If the content interval does not contain 0, means significant. Okay, please remember that. Okay, let's talk about bootstrapping. Anyone have ever heard bootstrapping before? Anyone? Bootstrapping? Mm-hmm. Okay. Could you tell me how you know about bootstrapping? Okay, precisely the main purpose of bootstrapping is to generate a confidence interval to let you decide whether or not a coefficient is significant. Okay, whether or not. That's the main purpose. What does bootstrapping mean? Conceptually. Okay, something like that. This is your data set. Let's say you have 300 data points. On your hand, you have 300 data points on your hand. When I adopt bootstrapping, randomly, they select or pick the sample to estimate the value. Let's say the mean value. But how many times should I pick? I pick and then put it back. Pick the data to estimate and then put it back. Let's say we run 1,000 times. 1,000 times. So it's kind of simulation. Use your original data. Let's say you have 300 data points. You have 300 questionnaire returned to you on your hand. And you enter the data into the software and execute the bootstrapping, just like randomly select, randomly pick to estimate the new value. And put it back again and randomly select, back and forth 1,000 times. Then you will get the final result. I mean, the final confidence interval. Let's take a look. You can see we draw a sample of the same size as the original sample with replacement from original data to calculate, to estimate. Something like that. So there's a possible that we have the same sample was picked or was selected 2 times or 3 times, no matter. Okay. And we can calculate the mean, right? So it's a resample data. You can see that it's a resample data. And we have mean 1, mean 2, and mean 3, and mean 4. We have many times. So you can see 1,000 times. Bootstrap. You can see that? Mean 1,000 times. So we get the mean value of 3.2. This is an example. But conceptually, we just resampling data and calculate the mean. Mean 1, mean 2, mean 3, mean 4, all the way. About 1,000 times. Okay. So that's the 1,000 bootstrapping. So let computer do the work. Computer have the power. Do it very quickly. So you don't have to wait a minute, maybe only a few seconds. It's done. Then you can see we can extract 2 values from result to generate a confidence interval, the lower bound and the upper bound. lower bound on left hand side, and upper bound right hand side. And based on this interval, we can decide whether or not our regression coefficient is significant or not, including the mediation effect. Okay, so the bootstrap effect, bootstrap process will extract the value, something like this one. So we have more stable outcome, although the data point is remain the same. The original 300 data points. No more, right? Just that. Repeat to simulate. Okay, that's the way we can test by bootstrapping. We will see how to do it in JASP, in Smart PRS, and also in SPSS. Not in PSPP. PSPP only very best function because it's free, totally free, right? It's very best function. So PSPP don't have bootstrapping function. Let's take a look at the types of mediation. We have three variables in this framework: x, y, and mediator. Let's say x, y, and mediator. The first type is called partial mediation. If this one, the direct effect, you can see that direct effect on customer event after including the mediator. So we put these two variables into the model. I mean the model 3. I just write somewhere here. Put our IB in this case is customer is another model. You remember that we have called brand image. We have brand image plus value, brand image, PI to customer loyalty, right? My loyalty. And through perceived value. So this use our data set. So we will predict use our data set. When we put the x and mediating into the model, and the x still have effect on the y, it's called direct effect. And we'll call it partial. For Barron County, they expect full mediator, not partial. But if your result tell you my x still have effect on y, so it's kind of partial mediation. Okay, so type 1, partial mediation. We expect the second one called complete or full mediation. That x has no indirect effect. That x or IB has no direct effect on y after including mediator. Accounting means controlling for this. This, do you remember? We have talked about controlling for. Controlling for means put the variable into the model. Okay, this is accounting for. Controlling for, you have to put the mediator into the model. So we have two variables as predicted, x and mediator, controlling for. Right? Okay, let's take take a look at the exercise. Okay, we will use the second order construct, SAV. Sorry. So this experience is X, release intention is Y, and travel image is mediator. It's mediator. So we hope we can get a complete mediation or full mediation fact. Okay, so we can use the this, you can see that. I want to show you the hierarchical regression. Hierarchical regression in SPSS. How do you do that? Analyze and regression and linear. Okay. The next step, we build the first model. This Y. And this is the visual experience ESP, right? ESP. So this is our X. Travel experience. In this example, I didn't include any control variable. The model 1, I just show you on the right hand side, whiteboard. I didn't include any control variable. So I just built two models, model 1 and model 2. So the hierarchical means we build another block. You can see that next. And you can see there's a very small hint here called BLOCK. Block 1 of 1. Block 1 means model 1. Model 1. Okay, see that? A block. And we click next means we want to create model 2. Create model 2. Got it? If you don't have any SPS on your computer, maybe use the desktop. Our desktop have SPSS. So for model 2, you can see that. I include the mediator. So this you can see block 2 of 2. So we have two models. The model 2, this block 2 is model 2. Model 2. And this is mediation. We put a mediator in model 2. Or if you have a control variable, then you have three models. Model 1, model 2, model 1 for control variable, model 2 for independent variable, model 3, mediator. Then click statistics. And something we have to check. Model fit, R square change. Dayu, you run regression, right? Do you report R square?
R squared, yeah, yeah.
Yes, okay. But do you know what is R square change?
No, I
No?
never before.
Okay. If we have more than one model, let's say model 1 or model 1 and model 2, there's some R square change. Right, change from model 1 change to model 2. So, and also to test the collinearity diagnostic, to see the VIF. But in mediation effect, usually there's no problem, but not much problem for mediation effect. But for moderation, you have to check. This one have to check. Okay. And click OK. Then we have result. I have described the result, the interpretation or the meaning of result just down below. You can read it by yourself. I will go very quickly. Let's say the model summary. This model summary. And how many models do we have? 2 models, right? Right, 2 models. So the model 1, model 2. Model 1 is x to y. This one. Model 2, x and mediator to y. This model 2. Got it? Good. And take a look at the R squared. This column. Around 0.46 or 0.46. It's quite close, right? Quite close. So, and usually we will take a look at this one. So, F change, significant or not. The first model p-value is less than 5%, so significant. But this one, p-value greater than 5%. What does that mean? The first model, x to y, okay, significant. The next model 2, the regression model, f, is greater than 5%. So it means not significant. Okay, not significant. It means maybe we don't have mediation effect, but we don't know. It's overall summary, not detail. Right? We have to break it down to see the detail because we have 2 variables, S and mediator in model 2. Okay. I have a remark some here. The p-value associated with the f change, p-value less than 5% indicates the increase in R squared is significant. Let's take a look at the ANOVA, right? For model 1 and model 2. Okay, ANOVA's 2 model 1 significant, model 2 is significant, but f change from 1 to 2 not significant. And you can take a look. A and B, B and C, A, B, C. This B, you can denote here, B is predictor, is visitor experience. But C, model 2, we have visitor experience also have travel image. So 2 variables. Okay, now you can see the model 1 only ESP experience, and you can take a look at the p-value here. It's less than 5%, so it's significant. But take a look at the model 2. ESP and also the travel image. ESP still significant, but travel image not significant. So that's why the F change is not significant. It also indicates something. Based on this report, what's your conclusion? What's your conclusion based on this table? we have two predicted travel experience. Let's travel, right? Visitor experience. Visitor experience and travel image. What's your conclusion? Do we have mediation effect or not? Not sure? Not sure. Okay, so how about you? What's your conclusion about the mediation effect? Eddie?
For experience is significant.
Do we have mediation effect?
Mediation.
Mm-hmm. The median is travel image.
Mediation is not really.
Yes.
No.
No.
There's the coefficient, the significance.
The p-value is
P-value is
greater
greater
than.
than 0.05.
Yes, correct. So it's not significant. So we can conclude, probably conclude, we don't have mediation effect in our life. Okay? Next barrel canning approach. If you want to do the support test, you need the coefficient and try to link to the support test. There's a website. You put a coefficient and then calculate the p-value again for indirect effect. For indirect effect. Good. Okay, now let's take a look by using the SPSS to